All right, we're back again with day 2 of animation with Piskelapp.com. Again, one of my most favorite programs ever. We are going to be looking at this beautiful little spaceship I made here. All right, before we looked at frame-by-frame animation where you're changing something, deleting, or adding to it to make it move, this time we're just going to make this little guy fly around the screen. And this is going to be pretty simple comparatively. Just like before, I've got my drawing. I'm going to duplicate the frame over here. Then I'm just going to grab the move tool right here and move it over a little bit. You can see I've got my onion skin on over here. That's why I can see this little ghost of the spaceship over there. I can see exactly how far away I'm moving it from the original, which is helpful a lot of the time. And then I'm just going to repeat this process. Click on duplicate, move it a little bit. Click on duplicate, move it a little bit. And you're always duplicating the last frame that you created so that you can make progress and move forward rather than having to go all the way back to the original first frame. So I'm just going to make this fly around our artboard. And you can see that's a pretty nice little animation. Okay, but let's talk about some of the advanced tools. And one of those advanced tools is over here, the sheep. This is the clone tool. Now let's say we want to create a background for this spaceship to be flying around in. All right, easiest way to do that is to create a new layer, just like we did before. Best thing for backgrounds. Now I'm going to create my background. Let's make it a night sky. So I'll get a nice dark blue. Okay, then I'll take my pen tool, get white, and add some stars in here. Maybe we have a big one right here and over here. Okay. Now the first problem we can see is that it is blinking. We don't have our background on every one. The second problem we can see is that it is on top of our spaceship. If we go back to layer 1, you can see our spaceship, but if we're on layer 6, it's there, but it's covered up. We need this layer, and this is probably going to be layer 2 for you guys. I was playing around a little bit, so that's why I got layer 6. We need it to move down. The way we do that is with it selected, hitting the down arrow, and now you can see our spaceship is on top of that night sky. The next problem that we need to fix is that it is only on this frame number 10, our last frame. You can see it flashing up there once it gets to that frame every time. The easiest thing to do is to click on this beautiful sheep over here, which will clone what we have on this layer to all the other frames. Boom. Easy peasy. Now we've got our background, we've got our ship flying around, and we've completed an animation in probably under 2 minutes here. All right, but what if we want to change things? What if we want to add things? And let's look at the clone tool some more. All right, I'm going to take off onion skin just so we can see a little bit better. That can be a little distracting with the ghost on top. What if we decide instead of a green ship dome, we want a red one on here? Well, that's easy enough to do. We know how to change the colors. Let's get a reddish color for this part here, and then a darker reddish color for the shadow underneath. Piece of cake. Now you can see it blinking. There's the red right there. There's the red right there. And you might think that, okay, I've changed the color. Now I want to make it different for all the other spaceships back here. I'm just going to hit the clone tool. And you can see all my other frames now have red in them, but my animation has stopped. You do not want to use the clone tool for anything that is currently moving, because you can see it copied that to every single one of my frames, and now my animation is gone. So we can't use the clone tool for that. I'm going to Control Z, hold down Control and tap the Z key. That's how you undo. We've got our animation back, and I'm actually going to undo this coloring. So what can we do? Well, we're going to go back to the tools that we learned about before. You see here the magic paintbrush, the swirly paintbrush, paint can tool. We have some options. If we hold Control, we can apply it to all layers, which doesn't help us out here. But if we hold Shift, we can apply it to all frames. So if I click on this, I've got my darker red color. If I hold Shift and click on my darker green, it's going to replace all the dark green pixels in all my frames with this red. Ready? Click. You can see it right there if you look close. You can see it over here in the animation. It's all got that red. Now I can go in, I can select my lighter color, hold shift again, and click on the lighter green. And you can see, ta-da, it has replaced all that light green on all of my frames with that other color. Okay? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is, what if we want to add something new? What if we want to put some clouds going across the sky here? Well, we can easily do that by creating a new layer. We can get a shape tool. We can get the color we want. We can draw in our clouds. We can fill them, no problem. Okay. You can see they pop up on here. We can hit that sheep tool. Now you can't see because my face is in the way, to get them on every single layer. But if we want them to move across the screen, we got to work a little bit harder. All right. I'm going to go right to the center one. All right. I'm going to have my clouds move from left to right. I'm going to start on frame number 5, and I'm going to move to 6 and grab my move tool and move them over a little bit. I can turn my onion skin back on so I can see. All right, I move them over 2 pixels, move down to the next one, move these over 2 pixels from the previous one. 1, 2. Go to the next one, move it over 2 pixels. And you can see this is a little bit tough. I got the onion skin from the one before and the one after going on. So I've got to count 1, 2. And I can keep doing this. It's not too difficult. But what I want to illustrate with this is that it's much easier to create animations or animate things if you start with all the things that you're going to have animate at the very beginning. Now I've gotten to the end, I'm going to go back to 5 and work backwards, moving the other way. 1, 2. Scroll up. 1, 2. Now see, I'm not sure where this is going to go. 1, 2. And 1, 2. So now you can see my clouds are moving across the sky. Maybe I want this behind my spaceship. But it's much easier, and you don't have to go back and go through all of that if we were to start with the clouds from the very beginning. It's easy to add the background because that doesn't move. But if we start right here, and we've got our clouds just like this, add these back in. Okay, then every time I duplicate my frames, I'm just going to move the clouds a little bit. Maybe we'll move them 3. I'll go back to my spaceship layer and move it a little bit. And then I'll duplicate and move both of these things. That way I know 1, 2, 3. Then I can add other things too. Like maybe there's another cloud coming in right here. Maybe a little wispy one. Move it again. 1, 2, 3. Add more of this little wispy cloud in. Go to my spaceship, move it, and duplicate. Move the spaceship, move the clouds. And this way I don't have to keep track of what's happening in my other frames. I don't have to duplicate and change things later. Okay, duplicate again, move it 1, 2, 3, move my spaceship, and I can just finish this off. Duplicate, 1, 2, 3, make sure I'm moving my spaceship and the clouds at the same time for each frame. Hope I didn't miss one. Duplicate. Back up. And I would have to keep going with this if I wanted this to loop exactly right. Because right now my clouds aren't moving off the screen fast enough. Okay? That's what we're looking for. These are the advanced tools for animating, using that move tool and layers to get things to move around without them changing much, using the clone tool to create your backgrounds, and using that paint all pixels the same color option in order to change some of the animated things that you've already got. One last thing, secret thing I'll show you about is you can actually change the transparency. If we have our clouds on top of our spaceship, We click on this little alpha symbol over here. All right, 1 means it can't be seen through. We got to go to decimals. If we want it to be halfway seen through, we got to do 0.5. And you can do anything from 0 to 1 to get different transparencies. If I click on OK, then my clouds, you can see, are a little bit see-through, and you can see my spaceship through them. All right, if I were to change that to 0.1, it'd be much more see-through. You can see there. Or if we did something like 0.8, you won't be able to see through them that much. If we look at this, you can see just barely through them. All right, so transparency can be fun to work with too. So for today, I want you to create another practice animation. This is going to be our last practice before we get to the project, where you are using layers. This is what I'm going to be looking for with your submission. All right, we're going to submit it the same way though. Click on export the mountain with the moon, choose GIF, and download that to your computer. Turn it in on the classroom. All right, good luck. Can't wait to see what you're creating. I've already seen some of the things you've been drawing, and they look fantastic. So keep up the good work, and I'll see you soon.